Jimin shielded Jungkook from chaos. Was it just a crowd or a hidden threat? The flash of a camera, the blur of movement. And then there was Jimin, standing in front of Jungkook like a wall between chaos and calm. The scene at the airport on that tense June morning was anything but ordinary. Crowds surged, flashes blinded, and amid it all, one moment stood still. Jimin stretching out his arm, eyes sharp, lips pressed, as if shielding Jungkook not just from fans, but from something far more dangerous. Was it instinct? Brotherhood? Or did Jimin know something no one else did? What began as a seemingly celebratory moment. Two BTS members nearing the end of their military service, spotted together at an international terminal, quickly spiraled into confusion. Fans who were there describe a palpable tension. The atmosphere wasn't just loud, it was off. It didn't feel like other airport appearances. One eyewitness shared online. Security was tighter. The staff looked nervous. And then Jimin suddenly moved in front of Jungkook like he was blocking someone's view. A few hours later, whispers turned into confirmed reports. Airport security received a private tip moments before their arrival, alerting them about a known saesang who had allegedly breached crowd lines and was lurking near the arrival gate. The target? Jungkook. Sources say the saesang had previously trailed BTS during earlier schedules in 2023, even attempting to disguise herself as a media member. That same woman was reportedly spotted again that day, hidden behind a face mask, clutching what appeared to be a press badge, trying to blend in, and yet, before security could react, Jimin had already moved. This isn't the first time Jimin has silently taken on the role of protector. Fans recall several past fan meetings, airports, and even concert footage where Jimin subtly stood beside or slightly ahead of Jungkook, especially when he sensed something wasn't right. Some have dubbed him the human barrier, and now, the title rings more true than ever. While their interaction, affectionately called Jungkook by fans, has always drawn attention for its warmth and closeness, this was different. There was no smile, no casual joking, only tension, and a quiet glance between them that spoke volumes. Could it be that Jungkook knew too? In clips circulating online, his hand seems to tighten briefly around the strap of his bag right after Jimin steps forward. His expression shifts, softness giving way to a wary scan of the crowd. Behind them, security closed in on one specific area of the crowd. The saesang, though not caught on camera, was quietly escorted out before any major incident could occur. No statement was released by HYB, but those who saw it unfold believe something was being carefully contained. What's more haunting is that this sighting came just days before the end of their military service, during what should have been a quiet moment of transition back into normal life. Instead, it exposed how deeply the trauma of fame and obsession runs, how even after years of training, performing, and enduring, safety is still a luxury, not a guarantee. And yet, in the middle of all this, there was Jimin. Not as an idol, not even as a soldier, but as a friend who moved without hesitation. Whether this was the reflex of a man trained to read crowds, or the intuition of someone who knows what it feels like to lose control, we may never fully know. But one thing is certain, Jimin didn't move for the cameras. He moved for Jungkook, in a world where their every gesture is dissected and magnified. This wasn't a fan service moment. It was protection. It was fear. It was love. And as the world waits for more news on their post-discharge schedules, whether group comebacks, solo debuts, or something entirely new, one question now looms over everything. If even a guarded airport can't ensure their safety, who's really watching over our stars when the spotlight fades? The moment after, silence, then a look. What did Jimin whisper to Jungkook after the chaos simmered and the crowd was controlled? One fan-captured video showed something chillingly quiet. Jimin, turning his head slightly toward Jungkook. His mouth moved. No audio. No reaction from Jungkook. Just a blink. A small nod. And they walked. But that moment, seconds long, has since been slowed down, looped, analyzed by fans who believe it wasn't just a glance. It was a message. What did Jimin say? Some lip readers suggest it might have been, "I saw her," or even more haunting, "She's back." Others argue it was simply, "Stay close." Whatever it was, Jungkook responded with a single motion. He stepped 1 inch closer to Jimin, almost imperceptibly, like he understood instantly. And then they didn't look back. Was it pre-coordinated? Was Jimin told ahead of time that someone dangerous might show up? Or was this just raw instinct, sharpened over years of being chased, followed, watched, even in their most vulnerable moments? This is where it all gets darker. Just 1 week prior, fans began to share rumors that Jungkook had canceled 2 scheduled stops on a personal project in Seoul. The reason? Unforeseen logistical complications. But now, fans are speculating that those cancellations were tied to growing saying threats that had already started to spiral out of control. Could this mean the threat was known even before they left Korea? Online forums are already ablaze with theories. Some suggest HYB had been aware of a pattern. Several known saying accounts tracking flights, posting cryptic photos of hotel lobbies, and even sharing meal orders that matched the idol's preferences. Others point to the disturbing accuracy with which certain individuals had predicted Jungkook's arrival time in the US. If someone inside leaked that info, what else has been shared? And what does this mean for Jimin, who, even during military service, seemed to be watching? Fans now believe that Jimin's sudden appearance at the airport wasn't coincidental at all. Some claim he requested leave specifically to escort Jungkook. Others think he had seen enough warning signs to justify his presence, legally or not. Whatever the truth is, that moment where Jimin stood in front of Jungkook has become symbolic. A fan-drawn sketch titled "The Shield" is now circulating on social media, showing Jimin with wings extended over Jungkook, reminiscent of guardian angels and ancient protectors. The caption beneath it reads, "He wasn't scheduled to be there, but he showed up anyway." That drawing now has over 3 million shares. This isn't about shipping or fanfiction anymore. This is about safety, brotherhood, and the unbearable weight of global fame. Fans are no longer asking if saying culture is dangerous. They're asking when it crosses a line so dark, even friendship can't block it. Jungkook hasn't spoken since. No photos, no airport waves. Just silence. A silence that has grown heavier with every new detail emerging from that airport confrontation. Meanwhile, Jimin has returned to his duties. No official statement from HYB.
No epalegi. No confirmation.
Just the memory of a quiet nod between two brothers who shouldn't have had to worry about shadows in a crowd. And now armies are asking, what happens next? If Jimin hadn't been there, would things have gone differently? Did security really act fast enough? Or was it Jimin who bought them time? The terrifying truth is this. No one knows, but they do know one thing. Jimin didn't hesitate. Even in the face of chaos, even when his role as a soldier might have prohibited intervention, he stepped forward. Not because he was told to, but because his heart did. The next chapter of BTS's journey may be full of hope, music, and long-awaited reunions. But beneath the surface, the scars of incidents like this remain. You can't rehearse fear. You can't script trust. And in that airport, where cameras blinked like fireflies, Jimin made it clear, some bonds are stronger than danger, stronger than fame, stronger than fear. The air at the airport was thick with tension, an odd mixture of excitement, fear, and the kind of uncertainty that only follows when something doesn't feel quite right. No one expected what would unfold in the next few moments, least of all the fans who had gathered out of sheer joy to witness what seemed to be a long-awaited public appearance of BTS's golden duo, Jungkook and Jimin. But behind the cheers and camera flashes, something darker was brewing, something unseen by most eyes, but not by Jimin's. What began as a warm reception soon turned into a whirlwind of chaos. As Jungkook stepped forward, guided by his team and flanked by bodyguards, a sudden wave of movement cut through the crowd. Whispers flew like wildfire. Some said they saw someone trying to breach the security line. Others said there was a phone camera far too close. But it was Jimin who saw the truth, his instincts sharpened by years of fame, loss, military duty, and a protective love for the members he called family. In a split second, Jimin moved. The cameras caught it. He stepped forward, subtly but unmistakably, placing himself between Jungkook and the chaos. His face was unreadable to some, but to fans who had followed every flicker of emotion across his expressions for a decade, The message was clear. He wasn't just shielding Jungkook from the fans or from the flashing lights. He was bracing for something else, something more serious. A threat. Later that evening, reports quietly confirmed the worst suspicions. A taehyung, one of those obsessed, dangerously devoted individuals who crossed the line between admiration and invasion, had allegedly infiltrated the crowd. Disguised, quiet, clever, and armed with information that should have never been accessible. It wasn't just an accident. It wasn't just fandom. It was a breach. And if not for Jimin's instincts, the situation might have turned into a global headline of horror. The world held its breath. Social media exploded. Fans who once screamed in excitement now tweeted in concern. "He protected him with his body," one wrote. "Jimin didn't flinch. That wasn't fan service. That was brotherhood," said another. Security footage revealed later showed a quick exchange between the two idols. Jungkook looked momentarily stunned. Jimin whispered something. No one could hear the words, but the soft press of Jungkook's lips into a thin line told enough. He understood. He was grateful. He was safe for now, but safety has become a fragile illusion in Jungkook's world lately. With the taehyung scandal from Korea still fresh and unresolved, with HYB under fire for failing to adequately protect one of their most treasured stars, the incident at the airport in the United States only magnified a truth that many hoped to deny. Jungkook is being hunted, not just by cameras, but by people who believe their love grants them ownership over his life. And in the midst of it all stands Jimin. Younger in years to some of his hyungs, but older in soul when it comes to understanding the price of fame. Having weathered emotional storms, fan controversies, and the mental toll of being both a global icon and a deeply sensitive human being, Jimin has long become the unspoken anchor in BTS. And when he shields Jungkook, it is not as an idol to another idol, but as someone who refuses to let history repeat itself. What few people know is that Jimin has carried guilt before. In past interviews, he admitted to feeling helpless when fellow members suffered in silence. When Jungkook cried alone. When V was stalked in 2023. When Jean disappeared for months into military darkness, unreachable even to his own dongsangs. Jimin internalizes pain. He turns it into poetry, into silence, into action. That's why this time he acted first, but fans are now asking, how did the taehyung get that close? Who leaked the flight schedule? Why did the protocols fail despite previous warnings and HYB's supposed tightening of security? If Jimin hadn't been there, would Jungkook have walked straight into harm's way? And most chillingly, what if next time, the taehyung doesn't just come with a camera? The government of South Korea has already stated its concern. Following the incident, anonymous sources report that Seoul's Ministry of Culture has contacted HYB requesting detailed reports on celebrity protection measures. Unofficial whispers hint at an upcoming public hearing on taehyung-related crimes and digital privacy invasions. Could Jungkook be asked to testify again, even while overseas? Could this be the beginning of a new legislative movement? The questions multiply like shadows. But one truth stands out in the flood of doubt. Jimin didn't hesitate. And in that single moment of silent bravery, he reminded the world why BTS is not just a band, but a bond. A living testament to brotherhood, to vigilance, to love born not of contracts but of connection. The images have gone viral. Jimin standing tall. Jungkook behind him, slightly ducked. The world watching, but the story isn't over, not even close. Because somewhere right now someone might be planning the next intrusion. And while security will strengthen, protocols will change, and companies will scramble, the emotional cost will continue to climb. And fans are left wondering, how long can Jungkook live like this? How long can Jimin carry the weight of watching over him? How long until a scream turns into silence? The next chapter may arrive unannounced, just like the taehyung in the crowd. But one thing is certain, when it comes, Jimin will be ready.